The Emperor's Folly. The crystalline spires of the imperial palace on Elixir pierced the violet sky like daggers of pure light, their surfaces reflecting the dying rays of twin suns. Within the grand hall, Emperor Varanos paced before his ornate throne, his scaled skin shifting colors with each surge of emotion. The latest reports from his intelligence network lay scattered across the holographic display before him, each one confirming what he already knew: humanity was expanding its influence, quietly but steadily. Parasites, he spat, his inner eyelids flickering with disgust. They spread like a disease through my galaxy. The emphasis on "my" wasn't lost on the assembled court of alien dignitaries and military officers. None dared to remind him that the galaxy belonged to no single species. High Admiral Zextal, a towering figure whose cybernetic enhancements gleamed under the ambient light, stepped forward. "Your Majesty, perhaps we should consider the Council Elder's warnings. Our deep space probes have detected unusual energy signatures near the human territories. They may possess capabilities we haven't." Silence. Varanos whirled around, his ceremonial robes swirling like liquid metal. "I will not be counseled by cowards. The humans are primitive creatures who barely manage to escape their own planet's destruction. They survive on our scraps, hidden in the shadows of real civilizations." Yet even as he dismissed the concerns, a holographic message materialized in the center of the hall. The familiar symbol of the Galactic Council rotated slowly, its ancient design a reminder of power that preceded even the Empire. Elder Cain's translucent form appeared, his multiple eyes reflecting wisdom accumulated over millennia. "Emperor Varanos," the Elder's voice resonated with authority that made several courtiers step back. "We have received troubling information. Your fleet movements near the neutral zones cannot be ignored. The Council demands." "The Council demands nothing from me." Varanos interrupted, his hand slashing through the hologram. "Your time is past, Elder. The galaxy requires order, not the weak governance of your precious council." Cain's expression remained unchanged, but the temperature in the room seemed to drop. "Then you leave us no choice. Know that what follows is of your own making. The humans you so despise have friends in places your empire has never reached." The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the court in uncomfortable silence. Varanos turned to his assembled commanders, his decision already made. "Prepare the fleet. All of it. We will strike at every known human settlement simultaneously. Let the Council watch as I remove this infestation from our galaxy." But far from the Imperial Palace, in a region of space that appeared empty to all but the most sophisticated scanners, humanity was far from helpless. The Horizon Deep, humanity's most advanced military installation, hung in the void like a sleeping giant. Within its reinforced walls, Captain Jax Morrow stood before a gathering of Earth's finest military minds. "They're coming," he announced, his scarred face illuminated by the tactical display. "The Empire's fleet is mobilizing. Every ship, every soldier, every weapon they have." A slight smile played across his lips. "They're doing exactly what we wanted them to do." Admiral Sarah Chen, her uniform bearing the insignia of the United Earth Defense Force, nodded grimly. "Operation Shadowbox is go, then. All the years of playing weak, of letting them think we're nothing but scattered refugees." She turned to the assembled officers. "Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to show the Empire why humanity survived when our world died." The room erupted in controlled activity. Officers rushed to their stations, and deep within the station's core, systems that had lain dormant for decades began to hum to life. The Horizon Deep's outer shell, appearing derelict and abandoned to external scans, began to shift, revealing weapon systems that would have made even the Empire's best engineers gape in awe. In his private quarters, Jax reviewed the classified files that only a handful of humans had ever seen. Project Prometheus, humanity's ultimate insurance policy, was finally ready. The Empire thought they were hunting scattered prey, but they were about to discover they'd walked into a carefully laid trap. As he studied the tactical readouts, Jax's mind wandered to the day Earth died, when humanity learned its hardest lesson: trust no one but your own. The Empire hadn't helped them then, had watched as their world burned. Now, after centuries of preparation, humanity would show the galaxy why that had been the Empire's greatest mistake. The next 48 hours saw the greatest mobilization of Imperial forces in the Empire's history. Warships emerged from shipyards across 1,000 worlds, their crews confident in their superior numbers and technology. Emperor Varanos himself boarded his flagship, the World Ender, determined to witness humanity's extinction personally. But in the darkness between the stars, humanity's forces waited. Not as scattered refugees, but as a unified force that had spent centuries preparing for this moment. The Empire was about to learn that sometimes, the most dangerous prey is the one that lets itself appear weak. The first strike would come not from the Empire's vast armada, but from a single human vessel, carrying a message that would change the galaxy forever. As Jax prepared to launch the opening move of Operation Shadowbox, he remembered the words of humanity's last president before the evacuation of Earth: "We will return not as supplicants, but as equals. And those who denied us aid in our darkest hour will learn that humanity's memory is as long as the stars are eternal." The game was about to begin, and humanity had been practicing for centuries. Shadow of Prometheus. The World Ender's bridge hummed with activity as Emperor Varanos' flagship led the largest armada ever assembled in known space. 10,000 ships strong, their hulls gleaming with energy shields that had never known defeat. Yet aboard his command vessel, High Admiral Zextal felt an unfamiliar sensation: doubt. "My Emperor," he ventured carefully, "the human settlements we've targeted, they're evacuated." "All of them?" Varanos dismissed the concern with a wave of his scaled hand. "Of course they fled. Like vermin before the exterminator. Hunt them down." But Zextal persisted. "That's just it, sire. There are no traces of panic, no chaos. These evacuations were methodical, planned. Almost as if." A massive explosion rocked the flagship, cutting him off mid-sentence. Warning klaxons blared as tactical displays lit up with impossible readings. Where there had been empty space moments before, hundreds of human warships now materialized, their stealth systems dropping like veils falling away. Leading the human fleet was a vessel unlike any the Empire had encountered. The UESS Prometheus, humanity's flagship, broke through the void like an ancient god of war. Its hull, composed of materials unknown to Imperial science, seemed to drink in both light and scanner beams. On its bridge, Captain Jax Morrow allowed himself a grim smile. "Broadcast on all frequencies," he ordered. "Let them see what they've awakened." Across the Imperial fleet, displays flickered to life with Jax's image. "Emperor Varanos," he began, his voice carrying the weight of centuries of preparation, "humanity accepts your declaration of war. We have waited for this moment since you watched our world burn. Today, you learn why that was a mistake." Before the Emperor could respond, the Prometheus unleashed its first weapon. Not an energy beam or missile, but a cascade of quantum disruption fields that rippled through space. Imperial shields, thought impregnable, simply ceased to exist as the quantum fields rewrote the laws of physics in localized bubbles of spacetime. "Impossible." Varanos raged as a third of his fleet's defenses vanished. "No species has mastered quantum manipulation at this scale." "No species you know of," Jax's voice corrected. "While you dismissed us as refugees, we built our new civilization in the spaces between your scanner ranges. We learned. We evolved. We prepared." The battle erupted in earnest. Imperial ships, still vastly outnumbering the human fleet, launched their counterattack. But humanity had spent centuries studying Imperial tactics, while keeping their own capabilities hidden. Each human vessel moved with precision that spoke of countless simulation runs, each crew knowing exactly how their opponents would react. Deep within the Prometheus, project director Dr. Elena Santos monitored the quantum core that powered humanity's greatest technological achievement. The artificial quantum dimension they'd created didn't just power their ships, it allowed them to bend reality itself. A secret developed over centuries of exile, born from the ashes of Earth's destruction. All ships, execute Pattern Omega, Jax commanded. The human fleet moved in perfect synchronization, their formations shifting like a living organism. Where Imperial tactics relied on overwhelming force, humanity's ships danced through space with almost organic grace. But the Empire's numbers couldn't be ignored. Even with their superior technology, the human fleet was taking losses. Jax watched as brave crews sacrificed themselves to maintain the battle plan's integrity. Each loss felt personal. These weren't just soldiers, but the descendants of Earth's survivors, those who had carried the dream of revenge through generations. In the chaos of battle, few noticed the small, autonomous drones that the human ships had been seeding throughout the combat zone. Each contained a fraction of the Prometheus's quantum manipulation technology. As they reached their designated positions, Jax gave the command that would change the face of warfare forever. Initiate quantum lock. The drones activated simultaneously, creating a massive quantum field that encompassed the entire battlefield. Imperial ships found their faster-than-light drives inoperable, their weapons systems responding sluggishly as fundamental forces became unreliable within the field. On the World Ender's Bridge, Emperor Varanos watched in growing horror as his mighty armada was systematically dismantled by an enemy he had fatally underestimated. "Launch the planet killers," he commanded, his voice shaking with rage. "If we can't have victory, neither will they." But as the Empire's ultimate weapons powered up, something unexpected happened. Space itself seemed to tear open as massive vessels emerged from what appeared to be holes in reality. The ships were of obvious human design, but they dwarfed even the World Ender. Admiral Sarah Chen's voice broke through all frequencies. "You didn't think the Prometheus was our only surprise, did you? Meet humanity's deep space fleet. While our visible colonies drew your attention, we built these in the quantum dimension itself. A space where your sensors can never reach." The new vessels took position around the battlefield, their very presence causing Imperial sensors to malfunction. They represented technology so advanced it appeared magical, the culmination of centuries of human innovation driven by the need for survival and the desire for revenge. As the battle reached its crescendo, Jax opened a private channel to Varanos. "You could surrender," he offered, though his tone suggested he hoped the Emperor would refuse. "Prove you're wiser than your predecessors who watched Earth die." Varanos's response was cut short as multiple quantum fields converged on the World Ender, cutting through its defenses like they didn't exist. The mighty flagship, pride of the Imperial fleet, began to break apart as fundamental forces turned against it. But even as victory seemed within humanity's grasp, alarms blared throughout the Prometheus. Dr. Santos's voice carried barely controlled panic. "Captain, the quantum fields are destabilizing. The Empire's weapons did more damage than we thought. We need to end this now, or we risk losing control of local spacetime itself." The battle had reached its tipping point, but its outcome would have to wait. For in that moment, sensors detected new arrivals, ships bearing the mark of the Galactic Council. The real war, it seemed, was just beginning. Council's Gambit. The Galactic Council's ships emerged from hyperspace like ancient leviathans, their organic crystalline hulls pulsing with energies that made both human and Imperial sensors struggle to maintain focus. At their center, the Council's flagship Eternal Wisdom dwarfed even humanity's largest vessels, its very presence seeming to calm the chaos of the quantum fields. Elder Kain's image appeared simultaneously on every ship in the battlefield, his multiple eyes reflecting the light of distant stars. "Enough," he spoke, his voice carrying authority that transcended species. "This battle ends now." But neither humanity nor the Empire had fought their way to this moment to be denied their reckoning. On the Prometheus, Jax Morrow stood defiant. "With respect, Elder, This is a matter between humanity and those who abandoned us to die. Is it? Kayan's response carried a weight that made even the veteran captain pause. Or is it exactly what other forces have been orchestrating for centuries? Before either side could respond, the Elder gestured, and the Council ships released a wave of energy unlike anything ever witnessed in the galaxy. The quantum fields generated by human technology didn't just stabilize, they harmonized with the Council's power in ways that should have been impossible. Dr. Elena Santos stared at her readings in disbelief. "Captain," she whispered, "their technology, it's not just similar to our quantum manipulation. It's the same underlying principles. But that's impossible. We developed this in secret." "Did you?" Elder Kayan's voice carried a hint of what might have been sorrow. "Or did you rediscover what was hidden in humanity's DNA, waiting to be unlocked by sufficient advancement?" In that moment, the truth began to unravel. The Council's ships moved into a formation that seemed to mirror the human fleet's own tactical patterns. Displays throughout both fleets came alive with data that told an impossible story. 30,000 years ago, Kayan began, before the Empire, before the Council as it exists today, humanity was not bound to Earth. Your species walked among the stars, wielding powers that could reshape reality itself. But you were not ready. The power corrupted, leading to wars that threatened to unravel spacetime itself. Admiral Chen's voice shook as she responded, "That's impossible. We evolved on Earth. Our entire history was carefully crafted," Kayan finished. "Your species was scattered, their memories erased, their technology hidden. Earth was not your prison, but your sanctuary, a place to evolve naturally, to develop wisdom to match your power. The catastrophe that destroyed it was no accident, it was a trigger, designed to awaken dormant knowledge when you faced extinction." On the world ender, Emperor Veranos laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You expect us to believe this fantasy? That humans are some ancient power?" "Look at your own legends, Emperor," Kayan replied. "Every species in the galaxy has myths of godlike beings who shaped the stars themselves. You called them the predecessors. Some called them the shapers. They were humanity's ancestors, and their power runs in human blood." The revelation hit both fleets like a physical force. But for Dr. Santos, pieces were falling into place. "The quantum manipulation," she breathed. "We thought we invented it, but it felt natural, like remembering rather than learning." Kayan nodded. "The Council has watched humanity's development for millennia, guiding from afar, waiting for signs that you were ready to reclaim your heritage. The Empire's aggression forced our hand. But even as the truth emerged, sensors detected new threats. From the edges of the battlefield, ships of unknown design began to emerge. Their hulls bore markings that matched ancient artifacts found on 1,000 worlds. The predecessors, Kayan's voice carried genuine fear now. They left guardians, programmed to activate if humanity ever reached this level of advancement again. They're here to enforce the ancient quarantine, by any means necessary. The guardian ships moved with impossible speed, their weapons unlike anything in known space. Both human and imperial vessels found their advanced technology useless against these ancient defenders. "There is only one way to survive this," Kayan announced. "The Council's ships carry artifacts of the original human civilization. Combined with your reborn knowledge, we might stand a chance. But it requires something neither humanity nor the Empire has shown today, the wisdom to set aside vengeance for survival." Jax looked at his tactical display, watching as the Guardian ships methodically began to dismantle both fleets. Centuries of preparation, of dreaming of revenge, collided with the responsibility thrust upon him by this revelation. "The choice is yours," Kayan concluded. "Continue your war and face extinction, or embrace your true heritage and face an enemy that threatens all life in the galaxy." The Guardian ships pressed their attack, their weapons tearing through space itself. As both fleets faced annihilation, the time for decision had come. Humanity's revenge or humanity's destiny hung in the balance, and Captain Jax Morrow found himself holding the fate of not just two armies, but perhaps all sentient life in his hands. The true war, it seemed, was just beginning. And its outcome would determine not just the future of humanity, but the very nature of life in the galaxy itself. Echoes of the past. Time seemed to freeze as the Guardian ships carved through space with weapons that defied known physics. Captain Jax Morrow watched as both human and Imperial vessels were systematically disabled, their advanced technology rendered useless against the ancient Defender's superior capabilities. All ships, fall back to quantum anchor points. Jax commanded, his voice steady despite the chaos. The human fleet responded instantly, their movements synchronized through years of training. But it wasn't enough. The Guardian vessels predicted their maneuvers with impossible accuracy. On the World Ender, Emperor Varanos faced a choice that would define his legacy. His mighty armada, pride of the Empire, was being dismantled by forces beyond his comprehension. With bitter resignation, he opened a channel to the Prometheus. Captain Morrow, Varanos spoke, his voice carrying the weight of centuries of Imperial pride, it seems we face extinction together. What do you propose? Through the quantum static, Jax's response was immediate, we combine our fleets. Your ship's energy matrices can synchronize with our quantum fields. Together, we might stand a chance. Elder Kain's voice cut through their exchange. There's more. The Council ships carry artifacts from humanity's past, tools of power that might turn the tide. But combining them with modern technology is unprecedented. The risk. The risk is better than certain death, Dr. Santos interrupted from her station on the Prometheus. Captain, if we can integrate the ancient artifacts with our quantum manipulation systems. Do it, Jax ordered. Within moments, Council ships were moving into formation alongside human and Imperial vessels, their organic crystalline hulls pulsing with energy that seemed to reach out to the human quantum systems. Deep within the Prometheus, Dr. Santos worked frantically with Council technicians to interface the ancient artifacts with modern systems. As they worked, she began to understand why the integration felt so natural. The quantum technology humanity had developed was really an echo of their ancestors' work, written into their very DNA. Energy synchronization at 60%, she reported. The artifacts are responding to human biosignatures. It's like they were waiting for us. But the Guardians weren't idle. Their ships moved with increasing aggression, as if sensing the threat of the combining forces. New weapons platforms emerged from dimensional pockets, each more devastating than the last. They're not just trying to stop us, Admiral Chen realized, watching the tactical displays. They're trying to prevent something specific. Something they fear. Kain's multiple eyes flickered with ancient knowledge. The convergence. The power that nearly destroyed the galaxy when humanity first wielded it. The Guardians were programmed to prevent its recreation at all costs. As if in response to his words, the artifact integration reached a critical point. Energy surged through the combined fleet, human quantum systems resonating with Council artifacts and Imperial power cores in ways that defied known science. Captain Morrow felt it first, a connection to his ship that transcended normal pilot-vessel interfaces. Around the battlefield, other human officers reported similar experiences. The dormant power in their genes was awakening, called forth by the harmony of ancient and modern technology. All ships, prepare for synchronized quantum jump, Jax commanded. We'll hit them with everything we have, across all dimensional planes simultaneously. The combined fleet moved as one, human intuition guiding Council wisdom through Imperial power. For a moment, it seemed they might succeed. The first wave of Guardian ships faltered under the coordinated assault. But then something changed. The Guardians' attacks took on new purpose, targeting specific points in space with surgical precision. Dr. Santos's eyes widened as she understood their strategy. They're not trying to destroy us, she gasped. They're trying to prevent us from reaching critical quantum resonance. If we achieve full synchronization between the artifacts and our technology, we become what we once were, Kain finished. The power that shaped stars and moved planets. The power that nearly ended everything. The battle reached fever pitch as both sides raced toward different kinds of apocalypse. The Guardians, programmed to prevent humanity's reascension at any cost, unleashed weapon systems that threatened to unravel spacetime itself. The combined fleet, fighting for survival, pushed the boundaries of what was possible with their merged technologies. At the heart of it all, Captain Morrow felt something stirring in his consciousness, genetic memory awakening after millennia of dormancy. He saw flashes of humanity's true history, the power, the glory, and the terrible fall. The choice that led to their self-imposed exile. We need to decide, he announced to the fleet. Not just how to fight, but what we're fighting for. If we fully integrate these systems, we don't just win this battle. We change what it means to be human. Forever. The Guardians pressed their attack, perhaps sensing the moment of decision. As reality buckled under the strain of weapons that defied physics, as ancient power surged through human veins, as three civilizations fought as one against the automated guardians of a long-dead age, the true question emerged. Was humanity ready to reclaim its heritage? Or would the galaxy burn in the attempt? The answer would come not from the past, but from what they chose to do next. And that choice would reshape the future of all species in ways none could predict. Legacy of the stars. The quantum field surrounding the massive fleet pulsed with colors that had no names in any living language. On the Prometheus's bridge, Captain Jax Morrow stood at the center of a storm of power that threatened to overcome his consciousness. The genetic memories flooding through him showed visions of humanity's true past, civilizations that spanned galaxies, powers that reshaped reality, and the terrible price of that power. Full integration in 30 seconds, Dr. Santos reported, her voice strained as she too fought against the tide of awakening memories. The artifacts are resonating with every human in the fleet. We're changing, Captain. All of us. Emperor Varanos watched from the world ender as his former enemies transformed before his eyes. The humans were beginning to glow with an inner light that his sensors couldn't classify. Even his hatred was giving way to awe as he witnessed the rebirth of a species that had once walked among gods. The Guardians are launching their final attack, Admiral Chen's voice cut through the chaos. They're targeting the quantum cores. If they succeed. She never finished the sentence. The Guardian ships unleashed a weapon that bent light itself, a cascade of entropy that threatened to unravel the fabric of spacetime. The combined fleet's defenses, even enhanced by awakening human power, began to buckle. Elder Kain's voice resonated across all frequencies, you must choose now, Captain Morrow. Complete the integration and risk becoming what your ancestors feared, or watch everything end. There is no middle ground. In that moment of crisis, Jack saw through the lies of both past and present. The Guardians weren't trying to prevent humanity's rise, they were testing it. The entire sequence, from Earth's destruction to this very battle, had been orchestrated across millennia. Dr. Santos, he commanded, his voice carrying new authority, initiate quantum core shutdown. What? The shock in her voice was echoed across the fleet. Captain, that's suicide. Without the cores. Trust me, Jax interrupted. I remember now. All of it. Why our ancestors chose to sleep, to forget. And what they were waiting for. Despite protests from both allies and enemies, the order was given. Throughout the human fleet, quantum cores went dark. The artifacts stopped humming. The genetic memories faded to whispers. And in that moment of apparent surrender, the Guardian ships stopped their attack. A new presence made itself known, not through technology or quantum fields, but through pure consciousness. The true predecessors, or what remained of them, spoke directly into the minds of all present. At last, they communicated, their thoughts carrying the weight of eons. You understand. Jack stood straighter, speaking for humanity. The power was never meant to be reclaimed. It was meant to be transcended. Our ancestors didn't fall, they chose to evolve. To find a different path. Emperor Varanos watched in stunned silence as the Guardian ships transformed, their weapon systems morphing into technologies beyond comprehension. They hadn't been attacking, they had been offering a choice. The quantum technology, the genetic memories, even this battle, Jax continued, understanding flowing through him. They were tests. Not to see if we could reclaim our power. But to see if you would choose not to, Elder Cain finished, his ancient eyes gleaming with approval. To see if humanity had learned what your ancestors died teaching, that true power lies not in domination, but in choice. The predecessor's consciousness resonated with agreement. The Guardian ships, now revealed as tools of teaching rather than destruction, took up positions around the combined fleet. Their presence no longer threatened, but promised. You offer a new path, Jax realized. Not backwards to what we were, but forward to something new. Not just for humanity, but for all species. The future unfolded before them, not one of conquered and conquerors, but of civilizations growing together, guided by the wisdom of the past but not bound by it. The Empire's strength, the Council's wisdom, and humanity's spirit would forge something unprecedented. Emperor Varanos, witnessing the death of his ambitions and the birth of something greater, made his own choice. The Empire would be honored, he declared, his pride giving way to wisdom, to walk this path with humanity. Dr. Santos's instruments detected changes spreading through space itself as the predecessor's final gift took effect. The laws of physics weren't being broken, but rather understood on a deeper level. Not through quantum manipulation or ancient artifacts, but through the combined potential of all sentient life. The real power, Jax announced to the fleet, to the galaxy, to the future itself, was never in the technology or the genetics. It was in the choice to use them wisely. Our ancestors didn't fall from grace, they planted seeds for a greater future. The Guardian ships began to share their knowledge, not weapons or power sources, but understanding. Understanding of how species could grow together, how civilizations could advance without destroying themselves, how the galaxy itself could nurture life without falling prey to the temptations of ultimate power. As the combined fleet began its journey home, carrying not conquest but conversation, not weapons but wisdom, humanity had found its true destiny. Not as conquerors or victims, not as gods or servants, but as teachers and students both, part of a galaxy learning to grow beyond its ancient fears. The war that had threatened to end civilization had instead transformed it. The power that could have destroyed everything had instead united it. And in the darkness between the stars, countless civilizations looked up and saw not conquerors or saviors, but fellow travelers on a journey that had only just begun. Captain Jax Morrow, standing on the Prometheus's bridge, watched the stars with new eyes. The revenge he had dreamed of for so long had been replaced by something far more precious, hope. Not just for humanity, but for all life in a galaxy that was, finally, ready to grow up.